to me, O Yahuwah, for man would swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me. Mine enemies would daily swallow me up, for they be many that fight against me, O thou most high. What time am I afraid, I will trust in thee. In God will I praise his word. In Yahuwah I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do to me. Every day they wrest my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together and they hide themselves and they mark my steps. And when they wait for my soul, they shall escape by iniquity. In thine anger cast down the people, O Yahweh. Thou tellest my wanderings, thou put thou my tears into thy bottle, and they are not in thy book. When I cry unto thee, then shall my enemies turn back. This I know, for Yahuwah is with me. In Sanini Nanini I will praise his word. In the word of Yahweh I will praise his word. In the I am I will put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. Thy vows are upon me, O Yahweh. I will render praises unto thee, for thou hast delivered my soul from death. Wilt not thou deliver my feet from falling? That I might walk before Tata Nzambi in the light of the living. Psalms chapter 56. Spoken in different languages according to the name or the pronunciation of God. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me in my seed that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, all praises, praises, praises to him who loves us. He who created our being from the dust of the ground and challenged it to reproduce after his kind. And thus you and I are born. Thank the Most High. Yes, as we loom, we have so many things that loom over our head, from wars to total annihilation. We have the regimes that are now fighting for their very survival. The ruling class fighting for its very survival. Whereas those who look the same are just saying, let us live and live us alone. We just want to trade and we want to do things right. Yes, they have their evil in their ranks, but the fact is that overall, many of them from China to Russia have very decent people. Yes, only thing that you have to do really, especially those of you in Africa, all your leaders have to do is enact their laws. That's it. Your laws will keep them in check, period. And that's for any people. Even the Most High have already told you one law. If you have a law in the land and you do it according to that law, no one is going to overrule your people, because they know that if one of them get out of line, and just like we read in SA about it's allegedly said that the children are being poisoned by the foreign vendors in the poor neighborhoods. But the fact is, once you do according to those laws that you have on the books and persecute them without prejudice, yes, without favor, without preference, according to as you would persecute your own, they're not going to do it anymore. Close them down, persecute them, put them in jail or whatever have you. Delete them for deleting out your children. See, you have to be vehement when it comes to your laws, else you will be ran over, period. Your laws are everything, and those who judge according to your laws should be moral and upstanding without any bias or any personal preference, even that of their own kin. And if it is their kin, to not allow them to judge them, but another judge that is not friendly with that judge. But the fact is that in this society, in this world we have today, in the land that we live in, that's too good to be true. Yes, it is. It's too good to be true. People have their own preferences. They have their own ways of doing things, and they don't. They have their own circles. That's why leadership, even being a judge, would be a lonely occupation, because everybody's going to look for you as favors, just like they do the president and different officials in states and local governments through lobbying, paying off the officials to grant them that special favor. And even more so, churches, religious organizations. Some you don't care for, but the fact is religious organizations get more leniency than anyone in the whole U.S. and abroad. Yes, leniency. But we have to sit up there, we call ourselves with the Dudley Do-Rights of yesterday, and we have these people that say that they're upstanding citizens, law-abiding citizens, but yet turn their head when they see another citizen doing that looks like them doing what is against the law. This is why we have the problems that we have today. And the same with Israel. The same with Israel. Israel has the same problems as it had before. It's on a downward spiral. Deuteronomy 28 had already been forecast. Moses have died. Then you have Joshua have died. Many of them were looked toward, and they upheld the laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. And yet you had the judges. When Israel would get out of hand, the judges would come and deliver them. They were saviors. They were Mashiachs. See, some of you got this word play. I often was telling a person today, I said, if you read Chancellor Williams' books, you find out it took over 1,000 years for even the colonizers and different peoples to overtake Africa, because even the gun versus the spear and the knife was not much of a, should I say, defeat for the continent of Africa. But I say, you know who defeated Africa? Jesus. Jesus took Africa and made it docile. Jesus took Africa and his presentation of this fictitious person, took Africa and made it out of a people that were put down and whitewashed and caused to look at themselves as nothing, while they look at the colonizers as the angels. Yes, Jesus defeated Africa. Yes, they defeated you. He defeated you. That's what he did. This fictitious character carried by the monks and different colonizers as they infiltrated. Jesus was the topping of the whole cake. Zulu put up a fair fight with the British, and you had different people. Queen Nzinga, even with her immoral acts of what she did, she defeated many of them. Even France didn't even have a good chance until they presented Jesus. But either way, we're in the book of 1 Kings chapter 2. Yes, 1 Kings chapter 2. This is a form of idolatry, the idolatry of the trinkets of, should I say, of the crosses, and this white guy with a beard and long hair and butt naked on the cross. Yeah, he defeated y'all. He defeated us, defeated everyone, and gave power to his believers who were evil. Evil toward us. Evil is what they came against us with. Evil, detriment, against what we and what would cause us to prosper. Many Africans were really rich. They had much money. They wasn't starving. You find out every organization, every civilization that have been introduced to Christianity through colonization became poor. Period. From the Indian to the African to the Australian, even all the way into the most remotest parts of the earth, if you really study it, when they accepted this Jesus, they became poor, overran, and destitute, and put down as second-class people. Nothing. And they still sell you this thing about your Isus, or your Jesus, your Yahawashai, your Husha. Never existed. Who they're using, I don't know. Somebody back in that time, they got many other ones they could have used as saviors. You even had the savior here in the United States, or should I say the Americas. You had Kensico. They talk about Kensico. They talk about different places. Where did they get this doctrine from? Where did they get this doctrine? There were many martyrs for the Most High, but where did they get this doctrine from? But we didn't finish the first chapter of 1 Kings. I think we ended in verse 39. Okay, we said right here, I think it was 34. We ended with verse 34 in 1 Kings chapter 1 as you prepare. 1 Kings chapter 1 and verse 34. Now, here is Israel. Really, this is a fallen state. When you put a man over God, you are fallen. You're done with. David wasn't no exception. There was nothing with David or either other the kings, because they rejected the ultimate. They rejected God, Yahweh, Yahuwah, Sanini Nanini Tata Nzambi, Heya, even Yahweh. They rejected it and came up with their own things. This is what happened. And now they have to deal with men that God had said, this is what's gonna happen. This man have taken another man's wife, made her lay with him. This is a form of rape. And also he went back and killed she got pregnant, and he killed his faithful soldier and follower of the Most High. This really infuriated God. You don't know how much it infuriated the Most High. And we shall see down the line that even his sons were no better than he. He said, well, how can you say that about David? I said it, and it is so. And watch Solomon. Watch him. Now in verse 35 it said, then ye shall come up after him, and that he may come and sit upon my throne, for he shall be king in my stead. And I have appointed him to be ruler over Israel and Judah. He's talking about Solomon. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, answered the king and said, amen. So be it, or it is, or whatever. He's not talking about no raw or nothing like that. No. These people throw everything at you. They will throw everything at you. The fact is, when you say a word, your heart, let the meditation of my words of my mouth and the meditation of what do I mean by this word be acceptable in thy sight, O God. What do I mean by what I say? There are different languages, different dialects and everything. One might seem one way to you and another might seem another way to somebody else, but it means that which it means to the person in whose heart the meaning dwells. Now, you can lie before God if you want to. You can cuss somebody out and then say, well, I didn't mean it that way. Yes, you did. Because you understood the way they understood. If you spoke the same language. Now, then you shall come up after him, that he may come and sit upon my throne, for he shall be king in my stead, and I have appointed him to be ruler over Israel and over Judah. And Benaiah son of Jehoiada answered the king, says, amen. The I am God of my king said so too. And as the I am had been with my king, even so he be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than the throne of my King David. So Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites went down and caused Solomon to ride upon David's mule, and brought him to Gihon. And Zadok the priest took an horn of oil out of the tabernacle and anointed Solomon, and they blew the trumpet, and all the people said, God or Yahweh save King Solomon. Still to this day, we don't know what name they put. Lord is just, you just have to stricken it out of the whole Bible as you read. Strick it from your reading, because that can mean anybody, even as we see here. So Yahweh, Yahuwah, saved King Solomon. And all the people came up after him, and the people piped with pipes. I mean, they would sing like flutes, and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth rent with the sound of them. In other words, it was earthquakes, what it's saying. Or either there was a great loud sound. They were glad for Solomon, yes. And Adonijah, even God was glad, because he knew that he was going to get his temple built now. David, nah, you done too much now. We're going to give your son a chance. And this was the son of an Hittite, a woman. This was really hideous, and we should find out that the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. But either way, and Adonijah and the guests were with, they heard, and with him, and heard it as it made an end of eating. And when Joab heard the sound of the trumpet, he said, wherefore is this noise of the city being in an uproar? And while he yet spake, behold, Jonathan the son of Abiathar and the priest came, and Adonijah said unto him, come in, for thou art a valiant man. Bring us good tidings. And Jonathan answered and said to Adonijah, verily our King David hath made Solomon king. And the king hath set him with Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and they caused him to ride upon the king's mule. And Zadok the priest and Nathan, they're riding upon the king's mule. You find out that they say something about a donkey or a mule as far as these secret societies. All these, you would wonder, where did they get this from? That's a question to be pondered. But either way, so that the city rang again, and this is the noise that ye have heard. And so Solomon sitteth on the throne of the kingdom. And moreover, the king's servant came and blessed our King David, saying, Yahweh make the same of Solomon better than thy name. And it was really worse. And made his throne greater than thy throne. And the king bowed himself upon the bed. And thus said the king, blessed be the God of Israel, which have given, or the power of Israel, which have given one to sit on my throne this day, mine eyes even seeing it. The son of his transgression. The son of his transgression was killed, but yet another son, because of his transgression, or by way of his transgression, is alive to sit on the throne. And all the guests that were with Adonijah were afraid, and rose up and went every man his way. And Adonijah feared because of Solomon, and arose and went and caught and hold on the horns of the altar. If I was Adonijah, I would run too, because now you have brought a devastation upon your own self, man. And it was told Solomon, saying, behold, Adonijah feareth the king Solomon, for lo, he hath caught hold on the horns of the altar, saying, let the king Solomon swear unto me today that he will not slay his servant with the sword. And Solomon said, if he will show himself a worthy man, there shall not a hair of him fall to the earth. But if wickedness shall be found in him, he shall die. Solomon was being wise in that way, right? Because he went ahead of King David. King David's choice was not made until this point here. But Adonijah just took it upon himself to say, I'm king, just like Saul would take a hold of the ephod or the Urim and the Thummim and try to seek God when that was the job of the priest, because he was king. Doesn't work like that. You're a manager. You're the one that manages and fight for the people. I was telling one dear saint and that talking on the phone from a continent in Africa, and we were just talking about the fact that how that we have to really do what God says. You can't go ahead of God. You can't really go ahead of God. And we were just showing how that God is really causing Africa to rise as they follow God and not go ahead of God. Somebody praying over there. That's all I got to say. But I digress. But anyway, Solomon said, I didn't really go into what the conversation was about, but either way, God be praised. If he will show himself worthy man. And so King Solomon sent, and they brought him down from the altar, and he came and bowed himself to King Solomon. And Solomon said unto him, now he said, and King Solomon said unto him, go to thine house. In other words, go, get out of here. And we're going to go on to chapter 2. And it reads in chapter 2, now the days of David drew near that he should die, and he charged Solomon's son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. Which would be something of any man when he's talking to his son, especially in the last years or months or days of his life. Show yourself a man. Be responsible. Yes, you young man, show yourself a man. Be responsible. Show your sons to be a man, even in this day and time of matriarchy, where they seek to feminize many men and cause them to be nothing. These are men doing this. These are men infiltrating this. These are men, they're uplifting the woman to bring down the man. They don't care about the woman. They don't care about her position or what she gets. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that whatever position she gets in whatever country she's in, because if she can do the job, she can do the job. But the fact is, to raise her up and say she's better than a man is not right. It's wrong. She just can do the job. That's it. But the better woman to me is the one, in my own opinion, is the one that can raise her children to be upstanding citizens. Even as Proverbs chapter 31 declares, she's praised and among the elders, and her husband, he's held in honor, and even her husband and her children praises her. See, God bestows a great honor upon a woman, but many don't want that type of honor. No, they don't want that honor at all. Proverbs 31, woman, think about it, read it. They don't want that honor. They want the honor as the man, just as the woman wanted the honor of God. Then she had the man fall with her. Here, take some of this. Okay, I digress. Now, he said, I go the way of all the earth. In other words, we all shall die. We all shall go the way of the earth. So everything in the earth, even the trees, the grass, the leaves, everything shall die. It grows old, it bears its fruit in its season, and it dies. When you find yourself bearing fruits, bear that fruit. Don't worry about all these old folks talking about, oh, in your season, and you going, who are you to tell somebody they're ahead of themselves? If you have the education, if you have the wisdom, and you have the know-how to do a thing, do it. Period. Stop listening to these old fogies. And some of these folks so religious, they too religious for their own self. You go, you build your corporation, you start your small business, you start your farm or whatever you have to do, or build your cars or your tech devices. You do these things. You only have one time to do it. If you're educated and you know how to do these things, do them. That is your season. Your season ain't always in the Bible. It ain't always in church. That ain't got nothing to do with it. But we should always obey his commandments, statutes, and ordinances and laws. Yes. Okay. Apart from that, God he give every man a portion of his spirit that he might profit. Just like he did during the time of the building of the portable temple. He gave different people a portion of his spirit. He poured out his spirit and gave him wisdom on how to do everything. See, you will have nothing here. You have nothing. Your wisdom doesn't come from aliens. Your wisdom, the pyramids didn't come from aliens or nothing like that. None of the things, even the guy that built the television that can take electricity out of air, didn't just come from aliens or some just thing. God. And some of them have given God the glory for it. You better acknowledge God in all your ways. You can't think of nothing. You just as dumb as I am as water. Unless God quicken your mind and cause you to research a thing and show you why and how a thing should work, not only through your education, but maybe just straight out. You're nobody. You just dumb as water according to the educational system. But God shows you something. Do it, invent it, try it. This is how God works. And he said to Solomon, in verse 3, and keep the charge of the I am thy God. Now, this is one thing that he said. Even though he had to really waggle his way into getting away from the thing that he did that God detests. I mean, it was an abomination unto the Most High. To walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments. Now, Solomon hadn't done nothing yet, as we know of according to these writings, and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all thy doest, and whithersoever thou goest, thou turnest thyself. Now, listen. This is a good saying here. If you keep that which God hath committed unto you. I ain't talking about no Christianity stuff. I'm talking about in all that you do being fair as the law is fair. Commandments, statutes, and ordinances are fair. He said that you might prosper. You will prosper. You might not become rich, but it might be something that sells. It might be something that becomes popular. It might be something that sustains you. And that's what we all think about, sustenance. Something to sustain us. A small business, a farm, or growing our own food. Sustainability. Prosper. That's another word for prospering. It don't mean becoming rich, but that you give me what I need, God. And whatsoever thou turnest thyself, and that the I am may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, if thy children take heed to their way to walk before me in truth. Didn't he say that to Abraham too? To Isaac and Jacob? And they tried to teach their children the same thing. With all their heart and with all their soul, and shall not fail thee, he said, a man on the throne. Now he made this to David after his seed. But the fact is that God knew. God told him the truth, but he knew David, because the seed doesn't fall far from the tree. Therefore, that's just a wise fable, but it's proven itself over and over again to be so. In some cases, the son or the daughter doesn't follow the steps of the parents. They do that which is right. Moreover, thou knowest what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, and what he did to the two captains of the host of Israel, to Abner and the son of Ner, and to Amasa the son of Jether, whom he slew and shed the blood of war in peace, but put the blood of war upon his girdle that was about his loins, and he in his shoes that were on his feet. Do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his hoar head, his gray head, go down to the grave in peace. Now see, murderers, and we're going to stop here at verse 6. Murderers, many of them die and they get a hoar head, they get gray, because they are the same hue as the judge. That says just like, and then one thing, a female, she deleted a female in an altercation, or should I say an argument or something, and shot her. They give her 25 years. What is that? A life for a life. Should it be? But does that black life really matter? Does that life for that poor person really matter? Brown or it doesn't matter because of the stature of that person or your biasness. 25 years is nothing. But when that person is persecuted and when that person has suffered the same death as the person that they have demised, then, as David said, let not their hoar head go or their head go down to the grave in peace. Why should a murderer have peace over whom the victim has no peace? Then you get mad in your lawless ways against the vigilante that stands upright and says, why should this person live past the time that he did not allow my mother, my brother, my sister, my cousin to live? Because he may be white or a judge or rich. What is it? Black and upstanding. And he can live as long as he wants to. Every judge, Supreme Court, all over the globe, God will judge you. State, local, municipal, God will judge you one day. You allow murderers to live, and victims have went down to the grave in shame and disgust out of jealousy and malice. And your judgment was unjust. To even sentence them to life in prison is an unjust judgment before the Most High. Even the woman that kills her baby, that is a human being. But yet your liberals judge. She should be deleted too. And the doctors that follow. You laid down. The commandment was the fact you laid down with that man. But yet you decided, oh, it's my body. It was your body when you laid down with him. You gave your body to him and both of you became one. And that one was destined to come out of him into you and to be nurtured onto a person. And now it's your body. You gave your body away when you gave it to that man, and man, you gave your seed away when you gave it to that woman. That's what you did. Now you murder, and the doctor murders, and everybody involved murders, even to the point of the lawmaker. He murders that same child, and now you make lipstick and all kind of tests and using the things for all type of medical reasons, you say. Note one thing out of the book called Medical Apartheid. If you're called a subject, they're experimenting on you. If you're called a patient, they're trying to make you well. Unless they're lying, you'll know, they'll say it. But either way, if we follow that which God asks us to do, we will have peace.
Walk with me.